It led me to the mailboxes on the next section of the road. That's where the address took me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Gold Creek, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm like,
So I just went on
You
the
were
road till I was
quite a ways up there, too far.
I took Gold Creek up and then just turned on and it told me the address was right there. And then I clued in after. Maybe it was leading me to the mailboxes. Maybe your mailbox is there or something.
No, our mailbox is the one down, kind of like 2 blocks that way and 1 block down.
Oh, yeah.
Which in the country hills, it's like literally like 10 blocks that way and 5 blocks down.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
because these are all big sections. But
Yeah.
Welcome to another podcast, Winter Nutz podcast. We have Blair back, which everyone knows from Ghost Rider Motorsports, and he's brought his service manager along. You know, give us a little insight on some of these, some of that, and there's a little things, and maybe there's some stuff I don't know, but realistically, it's just to create more conversation for the podcast. So today I was out on a little ride to kind of kick this off, and I went with Sled Farm, Alex Hansen. So film day, he just loves filming. He loves editing. It's his hobby to him. Like me, I like fly fishing in the spring, and people like, you just sit in a boat and fly fish, and him, you sit in your chair and just edit.
Yeah.
Well, we all like to do our own things, and he is really good at it. Like,
Yeah, we've got a bunch of his stuff playing on our TV in Fernie.
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. He's really good. I should get him to make like an edit for you guys just for that,
That
or
would be
something.
pretty awesome.
That would be pretty awesome. So we got some footage today of the 858. His 165 turbo Polaris just was eating snow, and I was struggling to keep up, but we each had a helmet cam on, so I'd follow him, he'd follow me, and
Nice.
just
Yeah,
getting
nice.
dusted and blasted with snow. I'm like, well, I think there's no stumps here. I can't see anything, but I think I should be good. And every now and then it's like, oh, tree, and then stopped.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Actually,
found snow though, right?
it was good snow, like really good snow. So we have, I guess, elevation-wise, 6,000 feet was wet.
Yeah.
7,000 feet was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess 6,000 feet, we're starting to get out of the wet and into the powder. So anything between 6 and 7 was, like blower snow over the hood.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So the front side of the mountain, which would be like the valley side for the Kootenai Valley, was wet for quite a ways up. But if you drop down the back side, you probably could have dropped below 6,000 just because the snow blows off the top of the mountain during a snowstorm and there was more fresh snow down below. But you could definitely feel the tracks down there a lot more, so there was a little bit less fresh. And then those tracks were just like a really wet, heavy, dense snow down underneath that fresh. And it was kind of throwing us around a little bit, but we went down.
12 degrees today.
Yeah,
It didn't. I never would have thought it was 12 degrees downtown.
Yeah.
Up there, like cold. Like sitting there in the wind at the top of the mountain, getting my
Yeah.
phone out and texting, and it's like a little bit of a breeze and
Yeah.
well below zero.
That's good though. Good
it
to
is
know
good.
that snow up there is still good.
There's been some crazy avalanches. I've heard of a fatality locally, and very unfortunate. I'm not getting into details because I don't know them. But someone passed away in a snowmobile avalanche here today or yesterday, I believe. And totally different snowpack that they must have been in, because we were obviously in the trees all day. But even in some of the steep trees, stuff's gonna move. And I'm like purposely trying to cut. And we're in steep trees, like really steep.
Yeah.
And then even like the sides of the roads where it's like the bank, and cutting along the top of that, trying to get something to even move off of the road down onto the roads. And it was actually really stable, and it felt like the snowpack was something you would expect after like a 2 or 3 week of no snow, where avalanche conditions are up high because we have a weak layer and some fresh snow on top of it. And that's literally what I felt like. I get stuck, and Alex was stuck there, and when he trenched like that, 5-foot trench the sides do, I grabbed that snow and pulled it into his trough to see where's this layer. And it wasn't like there was a crust down below from the rain. It just was that little bit firmer snow with a weaker layer that it was all this fresh was sitting on, and I could get that to slab and move in. And it actually was quite a slab. I could lift it and kind of throw it to the side and then try and pull some more and see what else there was going on.
Yeah.
But it took quite a bit to grab all that and dig my fingers into it and get it to come back. So it was pretty stable. I'm not saying we were going to get out and start climbing in the open hills. Like, there's no one going close to any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but in the trees, I was happy. And I don't know what happens, but there's a lot of traffic in the area that we're riding. Skiers, snowmobilers, And yeah, you couldn't really see, but you knew there's been snowmobile tracks in all of these spots in the past weeks, months. You know, it was tracked to crap during January with no snow.
Oh yeah, no snow. Yeah, it was bad. Fernie was bad.
Well packed underneath.
Yeah.
But then, I just hope the skiers stay off of some of them big open slopes that even the snowmobilers aren't touching.
Well, I
them.
read today in a group somewhere that Stonehenge came down, and Helens too.
I've seen that on Facebook.
Yeah.
That was by Volky.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, that should come down.
Yeah.
And that's good that it come down because now it's stable for all the rest of the snow that we get.
Right.
Now it's going to be the stuff that didn't move, that, like I said, little sand, where, the stuff that we aren't climbing or playing on, and it's, the big open hills.
Yeah.
And that's going to get more snow because it didn't move now.
Yeah.
And that weak layer is still going to be down there. And whether I call it a rain layer, ice layer, but I just think it's a weaker old layer that's sitting there from the hoarfrost.
Yeah.
It's eventually gonna come down.
Oh, yeah.
It just didn't get warm enough up there to move like everything else did everywhere.
Which is surprising.
It will.
It will. Oh, it will.
Yeah.
But
I was coming back from Fernie the other day, and it was raining down below, and I could see it just dumping up top.
Yeah.
That's why I told you guys to go up there, because it was snowing back there still.
Yeah. I haven't really dug any pits like our area or anything lately.
You haven't had enough snow to do it.
No, not really.
Because you knew it was December snow you were digging in, and that was it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, up until recently anyway.
Yeah,
and now we're 18 degrees or something you were saying in your truck today.
yeah.
So today was another test day for the MDS clutch kit.
Right.
First day out on this sled without the updated tune.
Oh,
he
yeah,
told
that
me
flash,
if it
yeah.
didn't have the updated flash, it was going to bog. Lo and behold, it bogged.
Yeah.
But when it didn't bog, it actually went really good.
Yeah.
It's so good just on the flats, on a log block, like a log landing. Just, okay, here I go, stand on the back, pin it, rent, and I'm just wheeling along. Like, exactly what it should be doing. And it impressed the hell out of me. It felt like, so he has a lighter primary spring, which lowers the engagement RPM. That then created about 1,000 RPM of just like a low gear, barely shifting, like it didn't shift. Then all of a sudden at 5,000 RPM, you could feel it kind of grab and the weights are flinging open and away you go. Yeah. And then from 5 to 7, like some good grunt. And then that 7 to 8, like that's where the magic's happening. Yeah. And it goes really good. But then bog every now and then. It's like, I got stuck because of the bog.
Yeah.
So you did the flash for me, bog's gone.
Nice.
What I'm noticing now, though, is the clutches are getting hot. I'm riding the crap out of it. Like, I'm riding really hard. And my clutches are getting hot, and it's starting to pull the RPM down on me.
Right.
So I've been talking to him now at MDS Clutching, being like, hey, like, I'm riding, and I'm not going to just stop because my clutches are hot. They shouldn't be getting that hot after 15 minutes of just riding.
Yeah.
But I kind of get it. I'm going up some pretty big hills to finish my run or something, and I'm only pulling like 75, 76.
Yeah.
And he says to me, talking about, what I'm noticing, what I'm seeing. And he's like, I think you really should check your spark plug boots. And I've already been seeing a lot of this on Facebook and the forums is spark plug boots.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? That actually kind of feels like what it is. It's like I have good grunt, good power, and the clutches are cool. Or even if I sit for just like a couple minutes, not even cold clutches, just sitting. And then go and ride. And then it's snappy, turn and start chopping the throttle up through some trees. And it's like, it just won't rev up for me. So I did actually, to start the day, pulled one washer out of each weight just to try and help this, thinking maybe it's the clutching that's doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of leaning towards, I need to get some NGK spark plug boots.
Yeah.
And the way I'm hearing it on the forums is, this is actually becoming more and more common, and a couple people chimed in saying Cat is working on an update for this already.
Right.
So I think it's something coming down the pipe, and something that Articat's already aware of, because every aftermarket manufacturer that's testing, tuning, whatever you want to call it, is giving feedback of, yes, we know about this, you got to change your boots.
Right.
So I'll give it a try and see what happens.
Yeah.
If not, then I guess I'm going back to him and complaining a bit more. But I think it's something boot wise.
Yeah.
But another thing we're talking about doing is this reflash is out, and we got to kind of learn a little bit. But what is all this Linderman stuff? So we're going to talk to him here in the coming days and learn a little bit of what that's all about.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to giving it a try. Not something that's going to be obviously long term, but it would just be kind of cool to see. And it's
and
weird
if
that
it's substantial, then at least we know.
yeah, and Arctic Cat's leaving that much on the table. How is every single Ibex and all these guys able to make this much more out of a naturally aspirated sled?
Yeah.
If it was a boost, I get it.
Yeah.
But an NA,
Yeah.
come on.
Because Ibex has that flash that you can buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all the OEMs kind of leave a lot on the table. I think it's emissions and stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
They're more focused on meeting those goals and stuff, right? And
Well, reliability too.
yeah, exactly. The aftermarket's always been
That is
pretty
true.
good
First
at,
year of a new engine.
Yeah.
yeah.
Last thing you wanna do
there's
is
more
open
to-
it all the way up so that you have.
After they see how it worked and how it stood up, maybe there's
Yeah.
more to come.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, manager of the shop in Ghost Rider. So you're managing both shops, Marysville, Fernie.
Gonna help take care of service, kind of
Service.
split up, kind of a little bit of our strong points between the two of us, and see what we can't drum up. It's already pretty awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
I was going to speak to your hoodie.
Yeah. Oh.
So we had
I'm
a
all over the
podcast, Reamer's Rendering.
Yeah.
And we talked about their bumpers, their braces, and you were the guy building them.
Yeah.
So that's something that's pretty cool. So you were manufacturing, welder, fabricator, but you're also a ticketed mechanic.
Yeah.
And you were just having fun doing some welding during the busy season.
Yeah.
And now that it's slower there, you've full-time back on to your service end of it at Ghost Rider.
Yeah. I was kind of it was really good to be on and have the opportunity to get on and work with those guys and be a part of what they're doing too. And
Well, Dan's such a good guy.
Dan is a great guy.
Yeah, and they got it's cool, like great little local business or Canadian business even, right?
That's a big thing on
Yeah.
Facebook. Everyone's asking, what's bumpers? And that's the opportunity to be like, okay, Canadian company. Obviously, someone's doing Alberta sliders. Like, hey, what bumpers are Canadian?
Yeah.
Well, we got a great one just next to the border of Alberta.
Yeah.
There's shipping all over.
Yeah.
Because he ships all over Europe.
Oh, they got like Finland,
Alaska,
Chile, all over the place.
Holy cow.
So,
Well, it's pretty cool that I go, buddy rents a sled in Sycamoose, and here's Reamer rendering bumpers on all the rental sleds.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's blowing up. So, it's kind of pretty awesome to be a part of that and have the opportunity to work with those guys kind of in a in-between phase for me, like kind of bouncing around and kind of finding my way over to Ghost Rider. So, yeah.
Welcome to the team, I guess.
Thanks.
You were actually part of the team before I was picked up, but you were part-time in it in the shop, part-time in it welding.
Yeah.
So, Arctic Cat news.
Oh, yeah. So I was talking to you earlier and talking about Arctic Cat Insider. I don't remember the guy's name, but he went over there and did an interview with this guy, and this guy's got Arctic Cat everything. I'll send you the link to check it out. You can post it on here for these guys too. But,
the link in my comments.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. I mean, nothing obviously, pure speculation essentially, but the guy's been around the game for a long time. So, everybody's sure that something's coming down the pipe.
Speculation.
Yeah.
What did you speculate about?
Just, like everybody else has heard. CF Moto, Argo. He's pretty confident in Argo by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Being right across the street and all the old staff from Arctic Cat as well.
Yeah.
It's going to happen soon.
It is.
That Snow West little forum there.
The Snow West one, I thought for sure when Snow West, like a week ago, released what they released for news on it, I thought that would be like the time that Arctic Cat would maybe release something. So when I saw it, it was like clickbait for everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone's anxious, and they got a million views on that.
Yeah.
It was perfect timing.
Yeah.
But it was showing, hey, delayed a bit, not sold. But potential buyers,
Absolutely,
lots of interest.
Lots of interest, Yeah, I mean, they go through, spend all this money on this platform. I think somebody'd be dumb not to pick it up.
Definitely.
Somebody will for sure. Like, just look at the buzz it's created this winter. That's all, like, everybody's
huge.
concerned
Oh,
about who's
yeah.
picking it up.
I do a podcast just on is Arctic Cat sold, and I got 14,000 views.
Yeah.
Like, to go from, anywhere from 500 to 1,500 views on most of my podcasts, the one that says, is Arctic Cat sold, is like 15,000, 14,000 views.
Oh yeah,
It goes to
everybody
show
wants
how
the
much people
information,
are
man.
clicking it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody wants to know.
they do. I think
There's not
there's
too many people that are unhappy with that sled. So I think, you know, once
some people aren't happy in situations where the dealer isn't supporting them the way they want to be supported. And
Right.
that would be a dealer, and unfortunately not every dealer maybe has the financial backing to help them in a way that's like, okay, well, we'll worry about what we get from Arctic Cat later. Let's get this guy back on the snow.
Yeah.
And then maybe not doing that, so you get some unhappy people. Otherwise, man, people love it. Like, I let Bobby ride it there on the poker run.
Yeah.
And I swear he was gone in the trees for at least 20 minutes with the tailpipe on that thing for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, he was just in love with that sled.
Yeah.
So to have a rider as good as Bobby, be able to speak as much hype to it as it actually, you know,
Totally.
just it is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for the release. I just hope they're not too delayed, because now Skidoo is released. Skidoo was early. I mean, usually it's
That
March.
was really early, yeah.
But
I
when you
almost
only
feel like
have
they
a
were trying to
few,
cut
when you only
the
have a
Arctic
few,
buzz.
yeah,
Yeah,
get
I know.
cut in front of everybody.
Yeah.
When you only have a few things to release, though, it really doesn't matter. And I thought what they released was fine. I saw a lot of people complaining and mad, blah 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 blah. They're only getting this new color. Well, man, every manufacturer for how many years that we've all been riding now has a lull in between their models that
Oh,
is just
yeah.
new colors or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Well, they need to spend time to R&D to build something, you know?
Yeah.
Can't come up with something every
so
year.
I heard that they're like 14, 15 pounds lighter, but they have a shorter cooler, aluminum A-arms,
Yeah.
skinnier A-arms.
Yeah.
They, I think they changed the thickness of the material of their tunnel as well, so they lighten that up. Good or bad, I don't know. We'll find out. But,
Man, from someone that wants to ride a sled,
Yeah.
I would rather have the 15-pound heavier sled. But I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, now they want to keep up to everybody because everyone is
Yeah.
complaining.
Yeah.
But man, as soon as someone bends a tunnel, it's gonna look bad. Where they had a good thing going.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been good for a long time.
They have been
Yeah.
good for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid sled. I mean, I don't know. I've never ridden a Skidoo down the trail. Did they overheat? Was there room to cut this much cooler off? I don't know. But
Yeah.
I know that they do plug up with a lot of ice inside because the cooler does come quite a ways back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe this will help reduce that a bit. And when the ride weight of it will maybe be less.
Well, and maybe, you know, every 10 videos you watch is some guy doing rear entries, so,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. They are.
So maybe they were trying to stop tunnels from bending, and if they do bend, at least there may be a replaceable part.
Yeah, it's kind of neat to see Skidoo jump on the weight train this year, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of not usually, historically, that's not what they're after. They build a decent product too, but you know, I think Polaris kind of sets the bar as far as weight goes, and they have for quite a while. And like the new Catalyst is kind of, it's not very far. Like, it's kind of on par there with
Wet.
Polaris pretty well.
Wet weight, they're bang on.
Yeah,
But only because the
exactly.
fuel tank's small.
Exactly. So,
You know, dry weight, they're just
Yeah.
a couple pounds more.
yeah,
Yeah.
so Dew almost has no choice but to kind of follow suit, I guess, now.
Yeah.
And, you know, the
So
next,
true.
next year or two, I'm sure we'll see new platforms from maybe everybody besides our new Catalyst. But I'm sure there'll be new stuff rolling out again. We're kind of getting to that, you know, new and exciting, bold new colors, a few changes, and we'll be looking at some new stuff, I'm sure, from everybody else.
There's the right time to do
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
really is.
Totally.
Like Polaris nailed it when they released the Matrix at the start of COVID.
Yeah. Right.
Just frickin' cranked one out of the ballpark with that. Like they got lucky, and
Yeah.
for some reason they kept producing that number of sleds, and then it was just like no one's buying now.
Yeah. Yeah, their inventory is scary.
What do you think of the Skidoo A-arms though? And having, what is it, 34?
32.
32.
32? So how wide is a sled? Has anyone measured the width of a Skidoo?
You're paneling out again, I'm pretty sure. with the
Yeah.
32.
So when you squeeze through, and before it was like your ski would tap as you went through and then
Yeah.
nothing rubbed. Now it's going to be like your skis don't tap and then you wedge in between the plastics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So,
Stuck.
it's cool to see them push that though.
It is.
It's I don't know what it creates like geometry wise for suspension travel and stuff in the front. Because like we used to do that kind of stuff, like building mod sleds and whatnot. We'd be chopping up arms, shortening stuff, but you ended up at the end of the day with a couple inches of travel, and that was it, right? So
Because you're shortening, so less travel.
exactly. So I don't know. I'm sure they wouldn't do it for no reason.
Yeah.
No.
It's
It makes-
it'd be set some new standards.
I wonder if
maybe.
they're going to offer both A-arm packages and like a different model of Skidoo.
Well, they do, yeah. So from what I gather, and I can't quite figure it out, I guess, like the Expert come out, I believe it was around like 2020, and that was kind of like the higher end above the X package and whatnot. But there's a lot of features that aren't available on the X package that are on the Expert and in reverse. Like they finally, they did away with torsion springs, which everybody else kind of did a long time ago, but it's available from what I understand on the X package, and on the Expert package they're still rolling with torsion springs, and I believe the 32 inch on the Expert and 34 inch on the X packages and whatnot. But yeah, kind of confusing why they like try a little bit here, a little bit there. One of them, I can't remember if it's the 32 or the 34. They're trying similar to Polaris with like cast aluminum upper A-arms, from what I
So I
understand.
heard.
And,
What were they made
so-
of before?
just like I don't know if they're chromoly or just steel, but they were quite strong for what they were, and yeah, I don't know. Try something new, I guess. So
You know what? I think they did enough.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a change.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If someone doesn't like their sled from 2 years ago, it's a bit newer, a bit different.
Yeah.
They can try.
Yeah.
And I guess that's also what, demo rides are for here when the new sled travels around and does every stop here and there.
Yeah.
Whether Banner takes one, I don't know. But
Yeah.
and people can try this skinny new A-arm. What's it like?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It might work for them.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, get it out there.
we're getting pretty close to Snowbike and ski stance now. So.
Yeah.
Go back to the old Snowhawk.
yeah. So
Not much smaller.
Yeah,
Just put the
exactly.
skis together.
Yeah.
So-
Just a really fat one now sitting in the
exactly.
front.
Yeah, put a
Yeah.
Snowbike ski on there and color good.
yeah, so.
So you ride then Snowbike?
Yeah. I've sledded for kind of ever, like I don't know, since I was 9 or 10 years old, and then come out here. I think 14, 15 was my first year out here riding, and then kind of turned into a few weeks here, a few weeks there, a month here, and then just the last time we were actually out riding, we just left all our stuff here and got a job up in the Elk Valley, and that's how we started out here. So, and then kept sledding, and then I've always been intrigued by snowbiking and stuff too, and like it's kind of still in its youth. We're kind of getting past that now. There's quite a few manufacturers in the game, but I was always intrigued by it, and I kind of we're past like the mod days of buying a pretty good mountain sled and building something cool out of it. That's what attracted me to snowbiking, I guess, is there's no one way to do it yet. There's no manufacturer that has a purpose-built bike or something along those lines. So we're building everything again. I always really enjoyed that. So
What track kit do you got?
I got a Arrow 129 right now, and then just on a KTM for now.
Yeah.
But
And
So,
that's the 450. What
yeah.
year?
17. Yeah.
Same exact year as my bike.
Yeah, they're good bikes.
They actually go pretty good.
Yeah, they work pretty good. They're like, for the year, they're higher up there horsepower compared
They
to
were.
everybody else. But
Well, they still are. They haven't gained much from where they were in 17.
yeah, exactly.
Because they were
So,
that much higher in 17.
Yeah.
Well, 15, I think, is when they came out with that big horsepower one. 15 or 16.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I heard you guys had some deep snow on the weekend.
yeah, we went out. We were gonna head out today, but we got tied up at the shop there, kind of. Playing around with some stuff. We had some training to do today, and then last weekend we went out and it was like rads deep. And,
That's what I heard. You guys are getting stuck a bit.
Yeah, we're getting stuck. You can still move around. But
Saturday
it was,
or not Sunday?
we went out Monday, I think it was.
No.
And last weekend?
No, I
Yeah.
thought you went out here on Saturday with Lee.
No, Lee went on his own. We were all going to go together, and then what day is it today? Or Monday already?
Monday, yeah.
No, I think we worked Saturday.
We did work
Yeah, we
Saturday,
worked at the shop in Kimberley here
Okay.
Saturday, but it was good. It was one of the first times I was reaching for. We're out of throttle grip there, so it was
Just hitting the
pushing.
rev limiter for a bit in second
Yeah,
gear.
yeah. So,
I've done that.
yeah.
It's funny how a 450 sounds like a 250F.
Oh yeah.
Real quick when you have a Snowbike on it, or a track kit.
I built the motor in that bike when I got it. It was basically toast, and I rode it for a summer, broke it in, and rode it for the summer. And it's the only bike that, I definitely don't have the summer skill to be cruising around on a 450, especially in the bush. But you throw a snow kit on it and throw it at 3 feet of snow, and definitely humbles its horsepower, that's for sure.
You do ride in the summer a bit?
Yeah, I ride quite a bit in the summer. Rode a lot when I was younger, and then got out of it. Sledding was kind of my focus, and was a heavy equipment mechanic forever, so kind of gunned through the summer, working like crazy, worked into the fall, and then sledding was my thing. And then moving out here, my brother was out in the Okanagan and was big into like hard enduro and some track stuff too, so we ended up doing a swap. I had an extra sled and he had an extra bike. I left him a sled, he left me a bike. We both got each other kind of into the other sport again, and here we are.
Were you riding the bush then? You're not your 450?
No, I got bikes are addicting. I got a YZ250 built up pretty good for the bush, and then picked up a new Sherco SC250 last year. Yeah, so it's done up.
I was just gonna say this Sherco 300 I want to try too.
You know what, the 300, like a lot of the guys in our group got the 300s and they're good. Like I love how lively the 250 is, and it doesn't really sacrifice a whole lot of grunt in my opinion. Everybody's kind of ridden it. I was blown away with it. I bought it. It was done right up, and like when it comes time to do a top end, we'll do a 300 kit on it. But
we had that bike pretty tricked out.
Man, is it? It's pretty dialed for a 250, and I don't know. I'll probably just leave it that way. It's all I need. So it doesn't really hold me back in any way.
Well, in bush guys, you got like 200 hours on a motor, right?
Oh yeah, they last forever. Like. Cranks, everything. Like, man, two-stroke technology in a bike has come a long way since I was a kid.
Yeah.
We were rebuilding stuff once a summer, or kind of get rid of it when it was toast and, get on something else. But all the European brands, man, you're getting I've heard of even 300 hours on a stock crank and stuff now. So
that's impressive.
Yeah, it's wild.
I wonder what many hours I ever had on any of my bikes before they had hour meters, right?
Yeah.
Like my YZ450 that was on the Snowbike.
Like 150.
It had to have been so hot.
Motocross bikes. You were 100 to 150.
But I rode my 450 Yami for a couple summers, and then I tracked it. And then I rode it then for a couple winters, and I didn't ride my sled because all I had was my Viper. Yeah. So I just rode my Snowbike every weekend.
Yeah.
It had to have been over 300. It had to have been just like so high.
Yeah.
And I knew it was time to get rid of that bike. Yeah. And a guy wanted to trade for Polaris Pro.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, sure, why not? It was a 2015. Julie's getting into sledding. Maybe that's what Julie rides. I guess I get rid of my Snowbike.
Yeah.
So that was a straight across trade. Yeah. Julie got into sledding, so it all worked out.
Yeah.
So it was my last Snowbike that I had. But it was time to move on, because for me, sleds had developed enough to move out of the big Yamaha shoot climbing sleds, and the Polaris Pros were developing into the Axis, and the Arctic Cats are coming out with their new chassis, and going into the Alpha, and every manufacturer of sleds were starting to get lighter and more capable. And then as that became more fun for me again now. Yeah. But for many years it was just big turbo nitros and everything, and that was what everybody had with the Apex and the nitro. And then it kind of faded when the Viper came out, and everyone started turboing up these Skidoos to shoot climb with. And maybe the sleds are getting better now.
Yeah, it's neat to see the way the industry's changed. Kind of being a part of it, like not necessarily for work the whole time, but always being involved in it somehow is like more on the consumer end of things. Where everything's gone. Like I was younger, had a lot of we did a lot of X-mod stuff out of the States, like snowcross stuff, and then got into everybody's first 800s, 900s. they just never were reliable, and that's how I ended up on my first nitro. I remember looking at sleds. What am I gonna do next year? And I remember looking at used nitros with like 20,000 kilometers on them. That was unheard of to me, like to see a sled with that amount of mileage on it. So tried that, went down the 4-stroke nitro kind of for a while, and then I tried a pro once, and then kind of ventured back to Skidoo, and like I don't know, it's neat to see where everything's gone. Like now, like you said, like kind of that 2010 to 2020, or even a little bit earlier than that, like
well, in 15,
they
14,
they really grew.
14, 15, Arctic Cat came out with the same chassis as my Viper.
Yeah.
And that was away from the hood that flipped open on the old M8s.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Skidoos didn't like the trees still at that time. I found even myself, I fought a Skidoo. There were XMs back then.
Yeah.
They still didn't like the trees that much. But then Polaris as pros were, getting better. Then the Axis came out in 16. And then everything was like, okay, now they're getting better in the trees. So...
Yeah, it's pretty
getting
good weapon.
definitely getting better.
Yeah.
We're a little ways away now from like trail converted sleds to like more purpose built stuff now, like everybody used to build on their own. So
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. I remember being in Ontario and out on the east.
Yeah.
And you would see sleds with 20, 30,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
Out here you see a sled with 5, and you know that thing is its life is almost over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild.
So before we wrap things up, then the last topic touch on was a couple updates that Arctic Cat has released.
Yeah.
One of which we have on the table here, and whether or not people know about it or don't, I think most people do. And it is something that everyone can bring the sled in and have done it if they like.
Yeah.
And it's this little bracket, and this bracket actually bolts to the front arm for the track skid. So where the front arm mounts kind of just behind the drivers up in the tunnel, they're bracing the tunnel a little bit because Hugo, if you watch Muskoka Freerider, his hole was actually pounded out and oval shaped and oblong just from the constant beating. So it's just a little update that can be done, and we're talking about maybe even tackling mine tomorrow. It's just a couple of rivets have to be ground off or drilled out, and then put this bracket in place after you kind of unbolt the skid, put this in, rivet the holes back into place of this bracket, and then bolt it back up. And there was another one, Blair, that you had mentioned to me, an update that was coming, wasn't there? Or that you said you heard of or something. Was it this or there was something else?
Those front A-arms for the 165s.
Oh.
Because those front A-arms are hitting that front shock reservoir.
Okay,
But it's funny because all of them, we lift them up and you can basically slide a thin piece of cardboard.
just
Maximum.
into it.
And it's barely enough room in there.
What we're just going to explain is on the Fox floats, the reservoir, actually on the front A-arms, when you're fully extended, like hitting a jump, or if you just lift the sled up on the shop floor or pull it over to one side, the A-arm with it fully extended, you could just squeeze this piece of plastic in between. Clears it, but it's tight. Some people don't like it.
And we haven't had any back with any sort of damage, scuffing, anything like that, but it is noticeably.
There's a little spacer there now
tight.
that people can put onto that upper A-arm.
You get any sort of little bit of play, like normal wear and tear play, everything's going to start rubbing pretty good there. It's nice to see something come out for that. They've been pretty, like, for the Catalyst didn't really have a whole lot of issues. It's just little things,
Tiny things, like the side panel on the clutch side. There's a rivet, and they put the rivet in a way that as soon as you wear a little bit of the wear pad down, the rivet, which is a stainless steel rivet, grinds up the aluminum clutch cover. Just a little bit, but still like something little. So you were saying that you heard something was in the works for that, whether they're changing the rivet around or what I did. I just drilled out the rivet, put a screw.
Well, we have those pieces.
That's essentially, they just come out with that as well. So what they're doing is that wear puck or block that they put in there, even where from the factory the rivet is, it's too close to, like you see where it catches on the clutch cover. So it's actually, we move it back a half an inch and use a like Torx head, like nice flush head bolt with a
Moving it
nut.
over, I see, to the right.
Exactly. So even if it was to catch, like it's impossible for the clutch cover to catch anything besides the puck now. So like even they could have gotten away with the rivet as well, but I think as a wear item, it'll be nice to easily replace that piece now.
Yeah.
You know, like even where Cat is, and you know everybody's worries with them as a business and that, like these few little issues that have come up with the catalyst, they're like all over coming out with stuff like this and like ironing these issues out right away. So,
and then the other one is, now that I brought it up tonight, with the spark plug boots. So something that I've seen on Facebook that people are saying something's in the works. So it's kind of cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Arctic Cat is, you know, yes, they're not developed or building sleds right now or building quads or ATVs, whatever.
Yeah.
But they are still working to develop the product and make it better.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign.
Yeah.
So that's cool they're doing that. And then when the next one comes out, these should all be done already.
Yeah.
To make it now, like every first year sled, there's always a few things. Second year sled, all those things have been dealt with and are better.
Let's just be happy it's minor stuff like
Little
this.
thing like that.
Minor
Yeah,
tweaks,
I haven't had an
exhaust
issue.
valve cables, you know.
Oh yeah, which I don't even know what.
And once we bent those brackets, no issue.
No issues.
Yeah, it was just, you know, millimeters.
Little tweak.
Yeah, millimeters.
they're not the only OEM to have first year issues, first year things to iron out. Everybody experiences.
At least they're not still having an issue with the clutch bolt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, too soon.
Too soon.
Yeah.
Still having issues.
Yeah.
Right?
So.
Yeah. Well,
All right, you guys. Thanks for coming on.
thank you.
Anyone that still likes the podcast, please hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Maybe we'll do another contest here in the future for that. But look out, Big Iron's coming. So there'll be a few podcasts happening there that I will release in the weeks following with a few of my buddies that we ride with up there. So I know I'll probably jump in the trailer with Tyson again. But I definitely want to hear from Michael Matt again. Check out this new sled that he built, a big triple, and there's gonna be some pretty wild sleds. I got some buddies coming from the States. Some stuff's been getting built in Alberta, all kinds of different stuff. So it's gonna be
It'll
sweet.
be a pretty wild weekend.
It will be. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to you guys then.